Between the countless people who felt it or saw it even miles away, to the many people stuck on the interstate and unable to get home, the tanker explosion at I-69 and 465 on October 22nd of last year affected many people. For Robert Skaggs and Lonnie Hoold, it was a morning like no other.
I was bringing my wife back from a doctor's appointment. She had to have shots in her back. We're coming down 465. We crossed the bridge there right before Bedford Boulevard. And just as we crossed the bridge, we was actually just probably still on the bridge when we heard something. And then I looked in my rearview mirror, and that's when I told my wife that something had blew up, because the only thing I seen was fire.
Lonnie Hoold was repairing a deck at a nearby apartment complex when the tanker hit the overpass and exploded.
We was working, and then all of a sudden we seen a fireball. We kind of like heard it and felt it, and it came over the roof of the building we were working on. And it was humongous actually. It just felt like it was never going to end, and it just like was rolling at us. So we jumped off the balcony, and I just ran to it.
Robert Skaggs pulled his car over and ran down the hill to the cab of the tanker where he could see a man inside.
I ran up to the truck, and the first thing I did was I hollered and I told him, you know, I'm here, I'm here. And I looked around to try to find some way to get in, and I looked up, seen the corner of the windshield sticking out a little bit. And I reached up and I grabbed a hold of the corner of the windshield and I jerked it. I thought maybe I could get the windshield just to come out. But every time that I would grab it and jerk it, it would just fold over. So I would reach up, grab it again, and I just kept doing that till finally I seen where it was catching. I slid my hand down the side of it and I jerked it and got it to come out far enough to where I could get my leg in between the windshield and the truck. And I started kicking the windshield back a little bit to where I could reach in and grab him. And I asked him, I said, "You all right?" And he said, "Yeah, well, my wife was right beside me." And she reached in and grabbed a hold of his left hand, but she wasn't able to do anything. So she stepped back away from the truck. And when she stepped back, that's when I heard her holler, "It's on fire." That's when I looked behind Mr. Tobias's head, and I seen the flames coming up behind his head. And I just told him, I said, "We got to go." And I grabbed him by the right arm, and I pulled him up and put my left hand around his back because he stood up, and I put my left hand around his back and I turned, and that's when Lonnie was standing there and grabbed the other side of him.
But as I ran around, I seen Pam. Pam was standing there, and I heard her say, "Please help."
There was people that was standing back yelling to get away. Coming from it from our side down the hill, and Robert seeing Mr. Tobias's face, these people were on the other side just seeing a semi on, all they could see was the flames.
And he reached in there and grabbed the guy, and when he like grabbed him, he pulled on him. And as he stepped out of the vehicle, he kind of like put his arm around my neck, and then he got on the other side of him, and we grabbed him up, and carried him all the way up the hill away from the truck. And we set Tobias down. He had a pretty good hit to the head where his ear was kind of like hanging down a little bit, but he's okay.
We got home, we sat and talked for a little bit, and I told Pam, I said, "Let's go to the hospital and see if we can get in. We might be able to see him." So I walked around the corner, and Mr. Tobias looked at me and he said, "That's him." He said, "That's the guy." When he said that and he shook my hand, that was all I needed. That was it.